Good evening. Welcome to the Thousand Oaks Planning Commission meeting of September 11th, 2006. We're going to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag, and we're going to take a few minutes of silence after that to honor the people who lost their lives in 9/11 years ago, their families and their friends, and all of the people who are still suffering ill health effects and other things today. Okay, please stand and say the pledge. Okay. Thank you very much for those few minutes of respect. Will the Secretary please call roll?
Commissioner Fisher?
Here.
Commissioner Grumney?
Here.
Commissioner Lunn?
Here.
Commissioner Reynolds?
Here.
Chair Wall?
Here. At this time, we do not have any public comment speaker cards. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address public comments? Okay, seeing none, we will go to item 5, written comments, announcements, and continuances. And we have Marjan Bazadi with us tonight. She is a permit process manager, and she's representing the Community Development Department. Marjan.
Thank you, Chair. Well, we have no announcements at this time.
Okay. Will the Secretary please call case 6A?
Hearing advertised as required by law is hereby open to consider agenda item 6A regarding case AA 2006-70258. Applicant Ronald and Joan Plander request to allow construction of first and second floor additions to an existing one-story single-family dwelling. Location 1114 El Monte Drive. Recommendation, approve with conditions.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Reynolds.
Thank you. I'm going to have to recuse myself from this hearing. I live within 500 feet of the property.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Chang, you're presenting case 6A.
Good evening, Chair Wall and members of the Commission. For your consideration tonight, administrative action has been filed requesting the Commission for a review and an approval. If you can turn your attention to the screen. The subject location is 1114 El Monte Drive, and the applicant is requesting to construct a two-story addition with balcony to an existing one-story single-family detached dwellings. And it consists of a bedroom, bathroom, family room, and attached garage addition on the first level. And for the second floor, the applicant is proposing to add a game room, bedroom, and also bathroom, and also a balcony. This is the project location. This is the existing front elevation of the house, and basically the addition will be to the right-hand side of the house, to the back of the house. This is a partial rear elevation of the house, and this is where the addition and also the garage will be constructed. And this is the partial rear elevation of the house. For the design proposal, the applicant is proposed to add approximately 2,160 square feet. And for the colors and material, it will match the existing house. And building height for this addition, including the existing house, will be 20 feet and 2 inches. And this project does meet all the setback requirements, including the front, rear, and also 2 side yard setback. And for staff recommendations, staff is recommending the commission to approve this project based on the findings and subject to the conditions contained in the staff report. This contains staff's presentation, and staff is ready for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chang. Are there questions for Mr. Chang? None. Okay, we will proceed to our applicant. Mr. Rick Moraga is the architect, and he's our main speaker. Mr. Moraga, please state your name, city of residence. You have 15 minutes.
It's on. Rick Moraga, City of Camarillo, architect for the applicant, Ron Joanne Plander. Basically, they're just doing a simple addition at the rear of the residence. Overall, it includes a covered patio area, addition of a family room and bedroom in the downstairs, an additional bedroom upstairs, and a 3-car garage. It all occurs at the rear of the residence. Very little of it would be able to be seen from the street. Of course, the neighbors in the back and the sides would be able to see it somewhat, although it would be covered by existing vegetation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moraga. Are there any questions for the architect? None. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mr. Ron Plander. Okay, you have no desire to speak, and Mrs. Plander, none. Okay, thank you very much. I'm not sure that we have anything to address for staff either, do we? No questions or concerns have come up? I actually did want to ask the Planders if one of you wouldn't mind coming to the microphone. Oh, and Commissioner Lunn also has a question for you.
Okay.
You please state your name and city of residence.
Okay. Ronald Plander, City of Thousand Oaks.
Thank you. That's for the record. I wanted to ask if you had approached your neighbors and if they have seen the plans and if they like them.
The neighbors that we did talk to, which we have quite a few neighbors actually, they have not seen the plans. We told them what we were doing. They were all very supportive of the project.
Okay, great. That's good to hear. Commissioner Lunn.
That was in essence my question. Most of the homes in that neighborhood are one-story homes, and did you speak to the neighbor to your, looking at your house to your right?
That's the Jan's house, and they were not home the last few days. The house that's most impacted is really right behind us, and they are two-story. They do have a two-story house right behind us, and we did discuss it with them, and they had no problems with it. Like Rick said, there is quite a few trees and vegetation back there, so I want a nice private yard. I respect theirs, and we will keep it that way.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions for Mr. Plander? None? Okay, thank you very much, sir. And we will return to staff. Mr. Chang, is there anything that you thought of that you would need to add?
For this particular addition, there are other two-story houses within the vicinity, and there are other houses right adjacent to our two-story house, so the design and the use are compatible with the surrounding.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further to add. And Mr. Moraga, is there anything else that you would need to add? None. Okay, thank you, sir. At this point, we'll close the public hearing and go to commission comments and/or a motion. Commissioner Fisher.
I think this is a perfect piece of property for this type of addition. There is lots of trees and vegetation around, which will be a good buffer, although there are other houses in this neighborhood that are pretty good sized 2 stories as well, so I think this is a good fit. So I'd move to approve AA 2006-70258 with the findings and conditions as listed in our packet.
Thank you. Comments to the motion?
I also will be supporting this motion. I also agree with all the comments that Commissioner Fisher said, but in addition to that, it would also be a difficulty not approving it, looking at the properties adjacent directly to your left and behind, because it is quite large home. So it's very consistent with what it looks like you're doing. Good luck.
Okay. And I also will be supporting the motion and wish you luck as well. Please vote.
Motion passed 4-0.
Thank you. And for the record, there is a 10-day appeal period. Will the Secretary please call Case 6B?
Hearing advertised as required by law is hereby open to consider Agenda Item 6B regarding Case Z 2005-70145. Applicant Ilan Doriz, Bernard Cartoon, Stephen Cameron. Request to allow change of zone from R1, single-family residential, to RPD 15U, residential plan development, 15 units per net acre. Location 1750 and 1752 Los Feliz Drive. Recommendation approved with conditions.
Thank you. Mr. Spector, you're...
Good evening, Chair Wall, members of the Planning Commission. This item is a change of zone from R1 to RPD 15, that's 15 units per acre. It's located on two separate parcels, 1750, 1752 Los Feliz Drive. And the applicants have indicated that the purpose of the change of zone is to allow the development of multiple family housing, which could be apartments or townhomes, condominiums. This aerial view shows the two parcels. Each of them contain a single family home. This is a photograph looking east at one of the parcels, 1752. And the adjacent 1750, it's very difficult to see the residence from the street. This image shows the residence in the back of that property. This shows the zoning configuration of the existing zoning and the surrounding area, and I'd like you to pay attention. It's worthy of noting the parcel to the south, somewhat to the south of the proposed zone change, that is RPD 15U. That parcel is vacant, and it was rezoned like this one, this zone change tonight from R1 to RPD 15U in 2002. And the Planning Commission approved a 7-unit townhouse on that site in 2004. This is an image showing that vacant parcel just south of the proposed change of zone. As a matter of history of this zone change itself, there was an application for just one of the parcels, 1752, and sometime later, before we got too far in the processing of the first zone change, another application came in for the adjacent parcel. Noting that the property's owners and the city would do well to have these properties developed in an integrated fashion, staff encouraged them to work together. And we took a proposal to the City Council in September of 2005 to ask for approval to process the zone change concurrently with entitlement application. And the property owners agreed to become co-applicants for the zone change and began discussing a possible joint venture to develop the properties in one project, as one project. Unfortunately, they've been unable, at this time, they've been unable to reach an agreement to do so. That doesn't mean that they're not continuing to work towards that end, though, I should point out. As far as the findings that staff is recommending for this change, staff would like the commission to recognize that the zone change is consistent with the general plan designation. The general plan designation allows, which is high-density residential, allows 15 to 30 units per net acre. In addition, the zone change will further one of the programs of the housing element, 19, which calls for rezoning of 5 acres of land in this vicinity: Chiquita Lane, Caneo School Drive, Los Feliz. So staff is recommending that the commission recommend that the council adopt a negative declaration for the project and approve the proposed zone change to RPD 15U, subject to the findings that are described in the staff report. And that concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spector. Questions of staff? Commissioner Fisher.
Just one question. I understand that the two applicants are working together, and the city would like to see I guess, a joint project. What happens, I guess, farther on down the line if they don't come to any type of agreement? I know that's not something we need to worry about at this point, but looking forward, what's your view of that?
Well, it's possible that they'll develop these properties individually. For example, the wider property to the north, he's expressed interest and done some preliminary designs for a 3-unit project. He's still interested in working with the adjacent property owner, but I don't know if it's going to come to fruition.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there more questions? None. Okay. Mr. Spector, I do have a question because in our staff report, it says that if the parcels are combined, that there's possible 9 multiple family units there, and that is very dense for the amount of street parking. What I need to know, I understand the City Council's direction on this, but what I need to know is what options will people have that live there if they choose to have large family gatherings, Thanksgiving, Christmas, or wherever? Where are people going to park?
Well, you're probably already familiar with the fact that the city has off-street parking requirements, depending on whether it's apartments or townhomes, for example. And that would suffice in some instances, certainly if there was an excessive number of guests for a party. And I know it's not the greatest street for off-street parking. They would have to park farther away and walk in those rare instances. And I should also point out that the 9 units is really a theoretical maximum. And because we require the off-street parking, we require landscape setbacks, and we require fire department turnarounds and certain the width of the access road. As a practical matter, we think there'll be no more than 7 units.
Okay, that's not entirely reassuring. The rest of the R1 parcels around here are also potentially, we're looking at 15, 20, 30 units on those as well.
Well, I don't know how many units there might be. I know some of these adjacent parcels have relatively new single-family homes on them, and I don't know if there'll be any redevelopment of those parcels anytime soon. I know there's a vacant parcel up the street that's been approved for 6 apartments.
Are you asking what the potential is for the other R1 zone property to be rezoned to R15, RPD 15?
Well, I think I'm understanding that all of these parcels in this area are potentially going to be upzoned to 15, 20, 30 units.
That's not my understanding, that all of these, we're only looking at those two pieces of property. It's not my understanding that that those other properties that are in the R1 zone are contemplating upzoning.
No, I realize that isn't happening now. I'm looking into the future, and I'm looking at an extremely narrow little road with all of these huge apartments on it and condominiums with not enough parking for people who live there.
And then one other issue that we would have to look at is assuming or speculating that a property owner that owns an R1 piece of property wanted to upzone their property. We'd also have to look at the general plan designation. In this particular case, the two properties that are being requested to be rezoned from R1 to RPD 15 already have a general plan designation of 15 to 30 units. I'm not sure about the other ones.
Okay, thank you for that. Are there any other questions? None? Okay. I only have a statement card from Mr. Cameron. Do you wish to address the Planning Commission? I'm sorry. Okay, would you mind coming to the mic? Thank you, sir. Please state your name and city of residence. You would have 15 minutes if you cared to.
Thousand Oaks. Did you have any questions or?
No, I didn't know whether you intentionally filled out a statement card or a speaker card.
Statement card, I guess.
Okay, so we do not have anyone addressing this case tonight, is that correct?
No.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay.
So, we will return to staff.
Do you have any other questions of me?
Is there anything you wanted to add?
No, not really. I'm surprised the other applicant, the owner of the other parcel, wasn't here tonight. But staff still recommends that the Planning Commission adopt the negative declaration and approve the zone change, or, recommend that the council adopt the neg deck and approve the zone change.
Okay, so I am going to ask our attorney. I have never sat on the dais when we do not have the applicants come to the Planning Commission for the meeting. Is there anything that we need to do with respect to that?
You can still proceed.
Okay, thank you. We will close the public hearing and go to commission comments or a motion. Okay, it doesn't appear that anybody cares to address this case tonight. I'm really rather upset that the applicants can't bother to show up at the Planning Commission hearing. And with that, I will make a motion to deny Z 2005-70145. And my reason for that is that I actually don't feel that the safety elements are in place here. I don't think there would be enough parking to have this many units located on this particular property. Comments to the motion? Commissioner Reynolds.
Thank you. I'm not going to support this motion. I have no problem with the zone change, and I especially don't have a problem that an applicant isn't here. Something could have happened. One property owner lives in Hawaii, and the other one you never know if there's been an emergency in the family or traffic. So I'm sorry. I feel that the negative declaration is complete, and I have no problem with the zone change, so I will not support your motion.
Other comments to the motion? Commissioner Fisher.
I agree with Commissioner Reynolds. Although I would like to see the applicants here going through the report. This is strictly for a zone change. I know at some point we'll be looking at a proposed project, and I think at that time that the staff can adequately cover any safety concerns, or, you know, whether it's 9 units, 7 units, or, you know, however many it may be. And so I think at that point we can really drill down on the specifics of it. But for the zone change, I think the zone change is appropriate.
Further comments? No. Let's vote.
Motion failed, 4 to 1. Wall.
Okay. Who would care to make the motion? Commissioner Reynolds.
Thank you. I would move approval of Z2005-70145. That's the zone change, and with the findings as submitted in the report. And I'm sorry, it is a recommendation to the City Council. Thank you. And the negative deck, yes, of course. Thank you.
Comments to the motion? None. Please vote.
Motion passed, 4 to 1. Wall opposed.
And there is a 10-day appeal period. Will the Secretary please call case 6? Pardon? I'm sorry. Oh, okay. No appeal period. Zone change. Will the Secretary please call case 6C?
Hearing advertised as required by law is hereby open to consider agenda item 6C regarding case Special Use Permit Major Modification 2006-70204, applicant McDonald's USA LLC, request to allow the installation of 2 menu boards, 2 customer order display boards, 1 preview board, and 1 directional sign for a proposed McDonald's restaurant. Location 3805 East Thousand Oaks Boulevard. Recommendation, approve with conditions.
Thank you. Mr. Alawami, you are presenting case 6C.
Thank you, Chair, members of the Commission. This application was before the Planning Commission on July 24th, 2006, and
Mr. Alawami, can I take a moment just for Mr. Fisher to make an announcement on the record?
Yes, I was absent at the commission meeting where this was heard. Since that time, I have reviewed the packet and staff report, and also reviewed the actual meeting on the internet, so I'm prepared to participate in this discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Mr. Alawami, please resume.
Thank you. As I mentioned, this application was before the Planning Commission on July 24th, and the Commission continued the case to the date uncertain to give the applicant a chance to redesign the signs and come back for the Planning Commission. So I'd like to direct your attention to the screen. Again, the application is for to allow the installation of 2 menu boards, 2 customer order display boards, 1 preview board, and 1 directional sign for an approved McDonald's restaurant located at 3805 Thousand Oaks Boulevard. The location is, as shown in the plan, it's within the North Ranch Mall. And the special use permit, again, is to allow the installation of those signs for a total of 6 freestanding signs, which includes an existing identification sign for the restaurant. The municipal code requires a special use permit application or a major modification for more than 1 freestanding sign or any sign exceeding the size allowed by code. The only sign that exceeds the maximum size under the request is the directional sign, and the size is 4.62 square feet, and the code allows 3 square feet. Applicant is proposing additional signs because of the proposed double drive-through lanes for the project. As shown in the elevation of design, the 2 menu boards have been redesigned to comply with the code requirements of 6 feet high, 6 feet long, and 30 square feet. And the sign itself have stucco finish on the sides and the front and the rear of the signs. And the customer order display boards comply with the code requirements with the height, size, and the size area as well. And the preview board has been redesigned to comply with the height, which is 6 feet high, and the width, and also the size. And also this sign or this board has a stucco finish on the side and the rear and the front. The only sign that does not comply with the size area is the directional sign, which is part of the vertical clearance structure for the drive-through. This sign exceeds the code allowed by code, which is 3 square feet. The proposed sign is 4.62. However, this vertical structure has been redesigned to eliminate the pictures. Originally, it has pictures on it and the color, and it's been reduced in size, and the paint of the structure is bronze or dark bronze to blend in with the building itself. The applicant, as I mentioned, has revised the design of these signs based on the comments received at the July 24th hearing. Those proposed signs are an essential part of the operation of the fast food restaurant with drive-through services and have routinely been permitted at other restaurants in the city. Staff recommends approval of the special use permit based on the findings and subject to the conditions in the staff report. Staff will be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for staff? Commissioner Lund.
Good evening. In staff report, there's a mention of condition number 9. Has that been discussed with the applicant, and have you received approval on that?
Yes, the applicant accepted the conditions, including condition number 9.
Thank you.
Other questions? None? Okay, we will go to our main speaker, Mr. Larry Lovelace. Mr. Lovelace, please state your name, city of residence, and you have 15 minutes.
Good evening. Larry Lovelace, City of Thousand Oaks. Hader has gone through the details of this presentation pretty well. I just wanted to reiterate from the last meeting we had, the main issue, at least from my point of view, was sign L, the directional height limitation sign. So we definitely took your input very seriously, and we've downsized that sign tremendously to pretty much a basic directional sign, height detector sign. And its purpose is on height detection is to protect the canopy over the second booth, which is a product window. So we've changed the color from red to the bronze, and we went to on the particular pictorial we had drive-through. Originally had a red background, now it's a neutral background, and it had a M or an arch on it, and that's been removed as well. And there was also some internal lighting, and that's been removed as well. So pretty much a basic sign at this point from our point of view. So other than that, the menu boards, we went ahead and made them match the color of the building as far as stucco. So on both the face, the side, and the rear facing Thousand Oaks Boulevard, it'll be a stucco finish complementing the building. So if you have any other questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Lovelace? Commissioner Reynolds.
Good evening. I was curious when you were talking about the directional sign, what did you say about the lighting?
The original sign that we had presented, there was a vertical artwork piece that Mr. Alawani mentioned was food, and that has an internal illuminated sign within it. It has some fluorescence. That doesn't exist anymore. This sign's a totally different sign, but the original sign was internally illuminated.
Will you be able to see this if it doesn't have a light on it?
Actually, that was a request from staff that we eliminate all lighting on this sign. So okay. It's been eliminated.
The reason I ask is that there were 3 of us who were down in San Diego, and coming home I stopped for gasoline in Del Mar, and right next to the Chevron station was the McDonald's. So I purposely drove through, and I had to go through twice looking for that directional sign, and that sign looked just like your drawing. But I noticed there was a light that hung off of it with a round flow.
Right. The original submittal after the last meeting included the sign that you're speaking of, but we were asked by staff to remove that lighting on the sign.
But as I said, I missed it the first few times, and so when I saw the drawing, I was really pleased because I actually saw something just like this, except for that light hanging off of it down at Del Mar.
Right. This is that basic sign with some minor revisions to it.
Okay, but it won't need a light then. I don't know why that light was there,
No.
because it hung down lower than the sign that says clearance 9 feet.
Right. No, it won't have that sign.
Okay.
Or that light, I should say.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any further questions? None. Okay, thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Lovelace. And we have Mr. Don Shawley with us for questions only. I'm sorry, I don't know what your function is, what kind of... Okay, does anyone have any operational or information questions? None. Okay, thank you, sir. We will return to staff. Mr. Alawami, is there anything that you needed to add?
The only thing is that there would be parking lot lighting to light up the parking lot and the entrance. Staff believes there should be enough lighting within the parking lot to identify the signs, including the drive-through sign. So with that, no additional comments.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lovelace, you do have a 5-minute rebuttal period. Is there anything that you'd like to add? Okay, seeing no, thank you. We will close the public hearing and go to commission comments and/or motion. Commissioner Reynolds.
I'd like to start the discussion. I'm very pleased to see that the changes in the signs, and especially the directional ones, again, talking about Del Mar, I noticed that instead of their signs being stucco, they had very large bushes that were hiding them. But what really caught my eye were the riders on top, so I'm very pleased to see condition 9 in this. And I therefore would like to move approval of SUMJ 2006-70204 with the conditions and findings as attached.
Comments to the motion? I will simply add that I'm very happy, too, that you could take the time and bend to the Commission's comments on this. These signs are very fitting for this neighborhood, and they reflect, I think, what we want to see in Thousand Oaks. So thank you for that. Let's vote.
Motion passed 5-0.
There is a 10-day appeal period. We will proceed to item 7, miscellaneous items, reports, and referrals. And I believe there is nothing. Yes, let's proceed to item 8, community development director reports and referrals.
I would just like to direct your attention to some of the upcoming projects for both City Council and Planning Commission. Centex Home Project will be heard tomorrow night, September 12th, which is located at southwest and northwest corners of Venture Park and Ramona Drive. And it was approved by the Planning Commission on July 10, 2006, and will be heard tomorrow night, September 12th. Also, Singular Wireless Services will be heard on October 10th, 2006. This is the appeal of this project, and it was approved on January 23rd, 2006, and it was appealed by a member of public. Some of the upcoming Planning Commission items are for the next Planning Commission meeting, September 25th, 2006. There are 3 wireless facility projects that are coming up, 1 Nextel and 2 Singular Wireless. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Posadi. The minutes. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes if there are no changes? Commissioner Reynolds.
Move approval of the minutes of the meeting of July 24th, 2006.
Thank you. Please vote.
Motion passed 4-0. Fisher abstained.
Item 10 is our AB 1234 reports. We'll start with Commissioner Reynolds.
Thank you. I was very pleased that I could attend the League of California Cities down in San Diego from Wednesday through Saturday, to think when I came home. I found it very informative. I enjoyed not only attending the different seminars and lectures on planning, but of course traffic issues are dear to me, and also the cultural heritage, talking about historic landmarks. That I found was the most enjoyable, and I really entered into the discussion that day of that because I sat on our county board for 16 years and I was involved in our own city landmarks. I'm very pleased that the city sends us so that we may be further educated. When I sat on the County Planning Commission, they never put money aside for any of the planners to attend anything, and I feel that it's well worth my time to go. I was back in my room early in the evenings, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you. Commissioner Fisher.
Yes, I too attended the League of California Cities conference, and it seems like each one of these conferences we go to, there's always something new on discussion. So it was well worth it. Of particular interest was the proposed assembly bill that is apparently going to the governor on cable franchises, and I think that can be a pretty big issue for the city. So it was interesting hearing about that. That was the first time that I heard that there was a particular bill going for the governor's signature on franchises and really legislation that really limits what the city can and can't do. So it was a great informational topic for me, and certainly interested to see on how this progresses out. But overall, a great conference.
Thank you, Commissioner Fisher. Commissioner Grumney.
That's okay. I also attended the conference, and just kind of tagging on to what everyone else has already said is that I really think we have to recognize that here in the city of Thousand Oaks that they are willing to invest in the education of their council members and their commissions. And I really appreciated the opportunity. I think it helps make me a better commissioner. And also it was a wonderful opportunity to collaborate with others throughout the state and gain from their experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Lund.
I didn't attend, and I missed you all.
Well, and you can obviously tell from my assumption that you were there that I was not there either, and I'm very sorry I wasn't. Okay. Are there any other commission comments? None. Okay. We will adjourn to 6:30 p.m. on September 25th, 2006.